Hello, I'm Roger Miller, and since 1986, home buyers and home sellers throughout Northern Virginia have trusted me to negotiate their real estate transactions. To learn how I can help you achieve your real estate goals, click on my website below. Enjoy this video.
Hi, I'm Teresa Payne with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Buying a home is one of the most exciting and largest purchases most of us will ever make. To help you through this process, we put together 3 videos. They include shopping for your home, shopping for your loan, and closing the deal. Today we'll discuss closing the deal or settlement. You've already determined what you can afford, found the right house, and shopped for the best loan. Now it's time to go to settlement. In this video, you will learn about the settlement process, the information shown on your HUD-1 settlement statement, and comparing the charges on your HUD-1 settlement statement to the charges shown on your good faith estimate, also called the GFE. So what is settlement, closing, or escrow? It is called different things in different parts of the country, but it is essentially the same thing. Settlement is the time when your property will be formally sold and transferred to you from the seller. You'll sign the loan documents at settlement, pay the closing costs, and receive title of the property from the seller. Sometimes settlement is done in one day with everyone at the same place. At other times, everyone signs separately. Depending on where you live, your settlement may be conducted by a title insurance company, an escrow company, your lender, or an attorney. Your settlement agent will oversee the legal documents, fee payments, and other details of transferring the property to make sure the conditions of the sales contract have been met and the real estate taxes have been paid. Regardless of who performs the settlement, you'll have to sign many important documents. Make sure you carefully read and understand all of the documents before you sign them. Don't be afraid to ask the lender any questions you have about your loan documents. You may also want to hire an attorney to protect your interests at settlement. Also, be sure to take your good faith estimate to settlement so you can compare the charges on your HUD-1 settlement statement with the charges disclosed on your GFE. Be aware, you may need to bring certain documents to the settlement table, like evidence of homeowner's insurance, a copy of your pest inspection, a driver's license or other legal identification, and a certified check or wire transfer from your bank to cover any outstanding costs, such as your down payment. One of the most important documents at your settlement will be your HUD-1 settlement statement, also known simply as your HUD-1. The HUD-1 is a 3-page form that lists all of the charges and credits related to your home purchase. The origination and title insurance charges will likely be the largest of these charges. Make sure you focus on these 2 items as you review your HUD-1.
I'm closing in a couple days, and I'd really like if you could send me a copy of my HUD-1 settlement statement to look over so I can review it.
You have a right to inspect the HUD-1 before your settlement occurs. Let your settlement agent and lender know that you want to receive a completed HUD-1 at least 1 day before your settlement. When you receive your copy of the HUD-1, compare the charges listed on it with the charges listed on your good faith estimate. Ask your lender about any charges or changes in the fees between your GFE and your HUD-1. Your lender may have to reimburse you if charges on the HUD-1 exceed those initially disclosed on the good faith estimate. Let's take a look at a HUD-1 settlement statement. There are a few major things you should focus on. The first page of the HUD-1 summarizes all of the charges and credits to the buyer and to the seller. Page 1 also contains information about the type of loan you're getting, the names and addresses of the borrower and the seller, the property address, the name of the settlement agent, the settlement date, and the contract sales price. Be sure to look at line 103, the total settlement charges. This is one of the most important numbers on the HUD-1, and it is described in more detail on page 2. This section also lists reimbursements to the seller for things such as property taxes and homeowner association dues that the seller has already paid for in advance. The sales price, settlement charges, and reimbursements to the seller are totaled on line 120. This reflects the amount you owe. The next section on the first page includes amounts that you have already paid or that someone else will be paying on your behalf, such as the deposit you put down on your home, your loan amount, and any credits you may be getting from the seller or the lender. There may also be credits for items owed by the seller that are due after settlement, such as property taxes. These payments and credits are totaled on line 220. The amount from line 220, your payments and credits, is subtracted from the amount from line 120, the total amount you owe. The remainder is shown on line 303, which reflects the amount of money that you must bring to settlement. We just saw that your settlement charges are shown on line 103. The second page of the HUD-1 settlement statement is a breakdown of those settlement charges into categories, also called series. The column on the right contains the seller's charges. The column on the left shows your charges. Most of these charges will also be on your good faith estimate and were explained in the video Shopping for Your Loan. After we look at these series of charges, we will compare them to the charges that were shown on your GFE. The 800 series is very important because it shows the charges that are related to your loan. Next to some of these charges, you'll see a reference to a line on your GFE. These are the charges that will be compared to those shown on your GFE. Line 801, our origination charge, shows the lender's and mortgage broker's charges for getting you the loan. And line 802 is the credit or charge for the interest rate you chose. Line 803 shows your adjusted origination charges after the amount on line 802 is either added or subtracted from line 801. Therefore, line 803 is really your total amount due for the loan origination services. All of the charges for title services and the lender's title insurance are listed in the 1100 series. This is usually the second largest cost at closing. Title service fees include charges for a title search and for the services of a settlement agent. These charges also include insurance that will protect your lender against any title dispute that might arise over your property. If you've decided to purchase an owner's title insurance policy, that fee will also be shown here. The charges for recording your deed and mortgage, as well as any transfer taxes that you have to pay, will be in the 1200 series. Transfer taxes are charged by your state or local government to transfer the ownership of the property and to place a new mortgage on the property. The last line on the HUD-1 second page is the total of all of your settlement charges. Now, let's go to the third page to see some new consumer-friendly charts, the comparison chart and the loan terms. These charts are designed to help you compare what was estimated on your GFE and what you will actually pay at settlement. The comparison chart will help you compare the charges disclosed on your GFE and the actual charges listed on the second page of your HUD-1. The loan term section can assure you that the loan you applied for is the loan you actually received at settlement. Let's take a look first at the comparison chart. This chart has three sections: charges that cannot increase at settlement, charges that cannot increase more than 10% in total, and charges that can change. Compare the charges listed in the GFE column with the charges in the HUD-1 column. If the lender has exceeded the allowable limits or tolerances, then the difference must be reimbursed to you at closing or within 30 days. Carefully compare each charge to make sure that the lender has not exceeded the tolerance limits. If they have, please give us a call and we will be more than happy to contact your lender for you. The last chart on your HUD-1 clearly sets forth the terms of your loan, including the loan amount, your interest rate, and your monthly loan payments. Please look at this information carefully and make sure that you are getting the loan and the terms that were set forth in your good faith estimate. If the loan terms do not match, or if you have any questions about the loan, contact the lender before signing any documents. Let's wrap up. What have we learned so far? We discussed what will happen during the settlement process, what information should be on your HUD-1 settlement statement, and how to compare it to your good faith estimate. So what's next? You go to settlement, sign several documents, and receive the keys to your new home. After settlement, you'll send your monthly mortgage payments to a loan servicer. And be assured that if you have any questions about the servicing of your loan servicer is legally required to respond to your questions. Congratulations, you are now a homeowner.
Click subscribe to watch more helpful tips for home buyers and home sellers. Click watch next to see the next video in this series. Do you know someone talking about buying or selling a home in Northern Virginia? Then click the contact me link below. If you're looking to buy or sell outside of Northern Virginia, I can connect you to a trusted and experienced realtor in my global network of RE/MAX agents. So contact me first. I'd be glad to help. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing this video.